Taking it out of the box, there's not too many parts to it. Got a base, the antenna. The antenna has a square groove inside there, and the mast has a square groove. So line those up, put them together, take your cables out. There's two cables. One is for the antenna to the router, and the other one is a power supply cord for the router. Here's the router. The electrical connections are on the bottom. So, let's set it up. So the big hole here is the power cord. Orient it so the cord comes out of the back where the opening is. Just push it in. And the antenna cable. There is a right and a wrong way to do this. If you try to put it in this way, it hits over here on the edge. So you have to turn it around. It's the only way it'll really go in. Make sure they're pressed all the way in. And then plug the power in. The antenna right now is in the stowed position. That's the position it has to be in to go back into the box. When we plug this in, there will be a short boot up time for all this to activate. And then there's a motor inside the antenna that turns the antenna automatically. Do not try to force the antenna with your hands. It does need to be pointing up in the sky to find the satellite, but don't ever try to force it with your hands. There's a short delay before it starts to move by itself, but you don't have to do anything whatsoever to position it. It does it automatically. The other thing to notice is before we put it back in the box, it has to go back into the stowed position, which is where it is now. It basically moves the mast over and folds it up. There's an automatic process for that, and we'll cover that at the very end. But this is a motorized unit, and it has to be plugged into the wall to stow. So don't unplug it when you're done using it, and then try to cram it back in the box, because it won't work. The other thing to notice, Matt, come over here and just focus on this. This slot right here is the only movement that it makes. It follows the satellites through the sky. And notice that it doesn't allow the thing to pivot this way. It only allows it to pivot this way. So the directions tell you to align the slot north and south. It doesn't matter which way is north or which way is south, but it has to be so that this will pivot along a north-south line. It does not have to be exact. It can be close, but you don't want it turned 90 degrees because then it won't follow the satellite. It'll only see the satellite for part of the arc through the sky. So, knowing all that, let's plug it in. There's a small white light down here. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. It tells you that power's on. Yep. So as long as you got power on, there's nothing else left to do except for we're going to bring the satellite antenna outside. So again, the slot here has to be aligned to north and south. So we're somewhere in this area. That's close enough. And if we wait just a few minutes, the antenna will move by itself. It's motorized, and it'll start to find the satellite. As soon as it does, we'll be able to find the Starlink on our Wi-Fi choices and log into it. We'll do that next. So we just got to wait a few minutes here for the antenna to rotate. Any questions, Matt?
Not so far.
All right.
I'm just wondering what it's thinking about right now.
I think the whole thing is booting up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably looking at maybe doing like a self-calibration to start before it starts looking for satellites.
It takes, by memory, it takes about a minute or two maybe for this startup process before the antenna will actually start to move.
Yeah.
But it's important not to be impatient. There it goes.
That's pretty fast.
All right, so right now it is actually searching for a satellite. You can see it making small adjustments.
Yeah.
And let's go back inside and we'll hook up the computer to it. Okay, so we're going to go online. Settings. We're coming over to Wi-Fi, and we're looking for the Starlink in our list of choices. There it is, DAMF Starlink.
Cool.
So we're going to choose that. It's asking us for the password.
Yeah, 110. That's pretty good.
Okay. All right, so you're online here.
Yep.
And let's go to the internet.
It's on Chrome right now. You can just type in a website if you want.
Up here?
At the top. Yep.
All right. DAMF Museum. Didn't spell it right.
Yeah. Always useful to spell things right.
DAMF Museum.
There it is.
So we're online. We're on the website. We can navigate. We can send emails or whatever else we want to do. Real quickly on the orientation of the antenna. If we're at an air show, one little trick for finding north and south would be to go online to whatever map app you use. I use Google Maps. And right here, I bought up the Reading Airport in Reading, Pennsylvania. We just came from an air show there. And the map feature shows the runway orientations. And the reason this would be helpful is because the map is always oriented north up by default. So if you were, say, down here in the corner and you've got these two runways, this is a more north-south runway. And you could turn the antenna so that it aligns with that runway. It'd be a nice little trick to help you get oriented properly. All right, so we set up the antenna. Only took about 5 minutes, I'd say. We waited for the motor to orient it. We logged on to the website, and we're selling merchandise at an air show right now using an iPad. So next step is to make believe it's the end of the day. And we want to shut the thing down and put it back in the box for the night. So it's really important, again, that the machine be allowed to stow automatically and electrically. So we need to make sure our power plug is still plugged in.
Yep.
So we'll bring the antenna in and I'll show you how that works. Put that aside. And the directions tell you to take the antenna and put it face down so that it's not looking at the sky at all. And again, we still have the power plugged in, and we need that for the motor to be able to stow it.
Yep.
So all we have to do now is wait. It takes probably another maybe minute or half a minute, and it'll automatically stow itself and stop. And at that point, we can unplug everything and put it away.
Yep. Whenever it decides its mission's over.